Welcome to the Curious Room. And before we begin, I just want to take a moment right now just to say hello to you. And when I say you, I don't mean, a demographic or a subscriber number. I mean you, the actual person listening to this voice. Not the version of you that's maybe rushing to get somewhere, checking the GPS, trying to shave 2 minutes off the drive. And not the version of you that has like 1,000 things on a mental to-do list, juggling all the obligations and deadlines. I'm talking to the you that's underneath all of that noise. Maybe you're in a quiet moment of your commute, just watching the world blur by through the window, feeling that strange separation from the people in the other cars. Maybe you're winding down at home, the house is finally quiet, the dishes are done, or maybe they aren't, and you've just decided to leave them, and the day is finally settling around you, kind of like a heavy blanket. Or maybe you're just out for a walk trying to clear your head, feeling the pavement under your feet. Wherever you are, whatever state you're in, we are really, truly glad you're here.
It is good to be here with you. It feels like we've stepped out of the noise and into a bit of a sanctuary, doesn't it?
It really does. Today feels, I don't know, it feels a little different than our usual sessions. Usually on these deep dives, we're running at a full sprint, we're dissecting trends, debating heavy research, trying to optimize everything, looking for the hack or the secret to, productivity or health.
Right, there's this high energy.
Yeah, this drive to conquer the topic. But today, the vibe is softer, it's slower, the lighting in the Curious Room feels a bit dimmer,
More
comfortable.
like we've lit a fire in the hearth.
Exactly.
It fits the subject matter perfectly.
Exactly.
I mean, the source material we have in front of us today, it isn't a dense academic textbook or some frantic breaking news article about the economy.
No.
It's a piece called The Anatomy of Quiet Unease. And the instruction that comes with it is, well, it's quite specific. It asks us to treat this space, this room we're in, together with you, as a place for reflection, not calculation. It's a space to breathe.
I love that concept, the Curious Room. I picture it with like big, worn leather armchairs, the kind you sink into and just never want to get out of.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe there are shelves of books that go all the way to the ceiling and a rug that's seen better days but is incredibly soft. And the topic we're exploring in this room is something that I think every single person listening has felt.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably today, maybe even right now, just sort of lingering in the back of their mind. We're asking, why does uncertainty feel unsettling? And not the big, loud, my house is on fire, uncertainty, but the quiet kind.
The kind that sits in the corner.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the goal here isn't to fix it. I think this is really important to state right up front.
Okay.
We aren't here to give you, 5 steps to crush uncertainty or how to dominate your future. If you're looking for a hack or a quick fix to make you feel invincible, this isn't it.
So what are we doing then?
We're just going to look at this feeling. We're going to hold it up to the light, turn it over, examine its texture, and just see what it's made of.
Yeah. So before we get into the thick of it, maybe we should establish the ground rules for this deep dive. The source material emphasizes simple English.
Yes.
No big academic words just to sound smart. We want to keep this really accessible. We want this to feel like a conversation between friends, not a lecture in a hall.
Right. And a slow pace.
Yeah.
We need to leave room for the ideas to land. Sometimes when we talk about feelings or psychology, we rush to the answer because the feeling itself is uncomfortable.
Oh, 100%. You want to get out of it.
You want to bypass the discomfort and get to the solution. But today, there is no rush. We're just exploring the feeling of not knowing. We're going to linger there.
Not knowing. It's such a strange state to be in, isn't it? Let's start with the feeling itself. The source talks about this idea of quiet unease. How do we distinguish that from, say, panic or anxiety? Because they feel like they're cousins.
They are. They live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But they aren't the same thing. And that's a crucial distinction. When we talk about uncertainty, often our minds go to the extremes. We think about a medical crisis or a financial crash or a full-blown panic attack where you can't breathe and your heart is just hammering against your ribs.
That's loud.
That is loud fear. That is an alarm bell. But quiet unease is different. It's the background hum. It's the static on the radio when you're between stations.
Yeah.
It's not loud enough to stop you from driving, but it's annoying enough that you can't ignore it.
A background hum. That is a great way to put it. It's like when the refrigerator is running. You don't consciously hear it. You sort of tune it out. But if it suddenly stops...
This silence is deafening.
Yes.
Yeah.
You realize it was there the whole time. In this case, though, the hum is the unease. It's a low-level static in your brain that says something isn't quite resolved, something is up in the air.
Precisely. It is the feeling of being human in a world that isn't fully predicted. If you think about it, almost nothing in our day is 100% guaranteed. We wake up and we have a plan, a schedule, a to-do list. But we don't actually know how the day will go. Will there be traffic that makes us late? Will the coffee spill in our shirt? Will that meeting go well or will be a disaster?
We just assume it'll go according to plan.
Usually we ignore that fact.
Yeah.
We have to, or we wouldn't function. We operate on a convenient illusion of control. But sometimes that reality, that we simply do not know what happens next, it creeps in. And that is the unease.
It's validation, isn't it? Just hearing that it's normal, because sometimes when I feel that unease, that sort of wobbly feeling in my stomach, my first instinct is to start auditing my life. I think, what is wrong? Did I forget to pay a bill? Is someone mad at me? Did I leave the stove on? I look for a specific cause. I want to pin it on something.
And that is the trap. We are cause and effect machines. We think, I feel unsettled, therefore there must be a threat. We want to find the source so we can neutralize it.
Right, so we can fix it.
But the source material reminds us that uncertainty itself is the trigger. You aren't crazy for feeling it. You aren't broken. You're just reacting to the gap between what you know and what you don't know. The gap. The gap is the trigger.
It's a shared experience. I bet the listener right now can identify a moment, maybe just yesterday or even this morning, where things felt a little wobbly.
Wobbly is a good word for it.
Not broken, just wobbly. Like the floor wasn't quite level. Maybe it was waiting for a text back. Maybe it was looking at a bank account balance.
It is universal. It doesn't matter how successful you are, how organized your calendar is, or how much insurance you buy. You cannot plan away the nature of reality.
And reality is messy.
And reality is inherently uncertain.
Yeah.
So this story you're telling today, the story of quiet unease, is everyone's story. It is the story of being a conscious being who understands time but cannot see the future.
And the source material actually calls this a storyteller approach. We aren't lecturing. We are narrating the human experience of the unknown. I like that because it takes the pressure off. We aren't patients to be cured. We are just characters in a story where the ending hasn't been written yet. And that's okay. It's actually kind of exciting, in a way, if you tilt your head and look at it differently.
That's a beautiful way to frame it. And in this story, the antagonist isn't some monster under the bed. The antagonist is just the fog.
The fog.
The lack of clarity. And we want to explore how that fog affects us, both in our minds and in our bodies. Because it is a systemic feeling. It doesn't just stay in your head.
Okay, let's move into that, because the anatomy of quiet unease suggests that this feeling isn't just a mood, it physically changes us. But let's start with the thoughts. When uncertainty hits that quiet kind, what happens to our thinking process?
Well, quietly, the brain shifts gears. The source emphasizes the word quietly because it's subtle. You might not even realize it's happening until you're deep in it, but you start to loop.
Oh, the loop. I know the loop well. It's the spin cycle in my brain.
Exactly. It's circular thinking. When we don't have an answer, the brain tries to manufacture one. It starts asking, what if, over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
What if this happens? But then, what if that happens? What if I say this and they say that? It's looking for a solid landing spot, a conclusion, a period at the end of the sentence.
But there isn't one.
But because the situation is uncertain, there is no landing spot. There is no period, just commas, an endless string of commas.
It feels like you're digging a hole, trying to find the bottom, but the ground just keeps giving way. And the crazy thing is, you spend so much energy on it, you can be sitting perfectly still on your couch, just staring at a wall. But in your head, you have run a marathon. You are physically exhausted from sitting still.
That is the exhaustion of uncertainty. It consumes massive amounts of cognitive energy. We don't often think of thinking as expensive in terms of calories, but it is. You are trying to solve a puzzle that is missing pieces.
And the brain hates that.
The brain hates unfinished puzzles. It's actually a documented thing. It's called the Zeigarnik effect, our tendency to remember and fixate on uncompleted tasks. Yes, uncertainty is the ultimate uncompleted task. It is a question mark that won't go away. So the brain keeps picking at it, turning the pieces over, trying to force them to fit. That is the mental unease.
And then that bleeds into the body. The source talks about the physical connection. I think this is where people often get disconnected. They think, oh, I'm just stressed mentally. But their body is telling a whole other story.
A very loud story.
Yeah, they're walking around stiff as a board and wondering why their back hurts.
Yes. The body holds not knowing, in very specific ways. The source describes it as a sense of suspension,
Suspension, like hanging.
like holding your breath.
Yeah.
Think about when you're watching a movie and the character's walking down a dark hallway, the music drops out, you know something is coming,
The jump scare.
right? You stop breathing normally. You hold a little bit of air in your chest, your muscles tighten just a fraction. You are waiting for the jump scare. Your body is priming itself to either jump or scream.
But in real life, the jump scare might not come for days or weeks or maybe never.
Exactly. And holding that physical state of suspension, tight shoulders, shallow breath, a slightly clenched jaw for a long period, that is exhausting. That is the unease settling into your muscles.
So it's not just in your head.
No, it creates a baseline of tension that we often just accept as normal. We walk around with our shoulders touching our ears, and we don't even notice until we lie down at night and suddenly realize how tight everything is.
It's funny. Sometimes I'll catch myself doing that. I'll be typing an email where I'm not sure how to phrase something, a tiny moment of uncertainty. Maybe I'm worried about the tone, or maybe I'm worried I'm being too pushy, and I realize my shoulders are rigid.
Yes.
My stomach is tight. I have to consciously tell myself to drop them. Release your jaw, I tell myself.
That's it. That is the anatomy of it. It's not always a heart pounding out of your chest. Sometimes it's just a tightness in the stomach, a feeling of being slightly off balance, like you're standing on a boat in choppy water. It's your body preparing for action, but there is no action to take yet.
No action to take yet? That is the hardest part, isn't it? If there's a tiger, we could run. If there's a fire, we could use the extinguisher. But you can't run from an unanswered text message.
No.
You can't fight a job application you're waiting to hear back on. You are stuck in the waiting room.
That brings us to the everyday examples. The source material breaks this down into 3 categories that I think are so relatable.
What are they?
Waiting, decisions, and the unknown future.
Okay, let's unpack waiting first. Because waiting seems passive, like you're just killing time, but it feels very active when you're doing it. It feels like work.
It does. The source describes the texture of waiting. It's not just the passage of time, it's the gap between now and then. It is an emptiness that we feel compelled to fill.
And the classic example the source gives is the digital age waiting, the 3 dots.
Ah, yes. The ellipsis, the bubbling dots.
Yes. You send a message that has a little bit of emotional weight to it. Maybe you're asking for a favor, or you're apologizing, or telling someone how you feel. Maybe you're asking someone on a date. And then the 3 dots appear.
And then they disappear.
And then they appear again. And it's torture.
It's a perfect microcosm of uncertainty. In that gap, which might only be 30 seconds or a minute, your brain goes wild. Did I say the wrong thing? Are they writing a long, angry paragraph? Did they lose signal? Are they ignoring me? Are they laughing at me?
All of that in 30 seconds.
The uncertainty is small. It's just a text. But the unease is real. You were suspended in that digital void.
It's amazing how much power those little dots have. But it happens in the physical world, too. Think about waiting for an event to start. Like, you're sitting in the dentist's waiting room, or you are backstage before a speech. You know what's going to happen eventually, but the time before the time, it's heavy.
It is. It's a limbo state. You can't really start another task because you're on call. You can't get deep into reading a novel because they might call your name any second. You are tethered to the future event, so you can't fully be in the present. That split focus creates tension. It is why we doom scroll on our phones in waiting rooms. We are trying to distract the brain from the waiting mode. We are desperately trying to fill the void.
Okay, let's talk about the second category, decisions. This is a big one for me, the burden of decisions. Why does making a choice feel so unsettling? Even small choices. Sometimes I stare at Netflix for 20 minutes and I feel physically bad. I feel guilty.
Because every choice involves a loss. That is the fundamental truth we hate to admit. The word decide actually comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off.
To cut off. Wow.
When you choose path A, watching this movie, you are killing off the possibility of path B, C, and D. You are sacrificing all the other potential evenings you could have had.
The fear of the wrong path. The opportunity cost. What if I watch this and it's bad and I wasted my night?
Right. And in a world with infinite options, what to watch, what to eat, what career to pursue, who to date, the burden of making the right choice is heavy. We treat everyday decisions like they are life or death because we don't know the outcome.
We want a guarantee.
We don't know if the movie will be boring. We don't know if the salad will be wilted. We crave the guarantee of satisfaction, but we can't get it until after we choose.
I feel this at restaurants. I know it sounds silly, but looking at a menu can give me that quiet unease. I'm worried I'll order the pasta and then look at your plate and wish I got the burger.
Food envy.
Yes. And I won't know until the food arrives. It's a micro uncertainty, but it paralyzes me. I sit there reading the descriptions like I'm studying for an exam.
But it scales up, doesn't it? That same mechanism, the fear of future regret, is at work when you are deciding whether to move to a new city.
Oh, absolutely.
What if I hate it? What if I miss my friends? What if it rains all the time? What if I can't find a good coffee shop? You cannot know the answer until you make the leap. And that gap between the decision and the outcome is where the unease lives.
And even once you make the choice, there's still that lag time. You've signed the lease, but you haven't moved yet. That is a very specific flavor of uncertainty, that waking up at 3 a.m. thinking, did I just ruin my life?
Did I just ruin my life? Is the ultimate catastrophic question of uncertainty.
Yeah.
But yes, that is the feeling. It's the realization that you have committed to a future that is still foggy. You have bought a ticket to a destination you haven't seen yet.
Which leads us perfectly to the third category, the unknown future.
This is the big one. This is looking ahead and seeing fog rather than a clear road.
The source mentions keeping this grounded, though. We aren't talking about the apocalypse or global geopolitics or the heat death of the universe. We're talking about what will tomorrow be like?
Right.
Or where is my life going in a general sense? The personal future.
Yes. Think about driving at night. You can only see as far as your headlights. You know the road continues. You trust that the road continues. But you can't actually see the curve that is a mile ahead. You have to drive into the blackness, trusting that the road will be there when you arrive.
That's a great analogy. And most of the time, we're fine with that. We drive on autopilot. We trust the road. But sometimes, usually when we're tired or vulnerable, you just really want to see the map. You want to know that the destination is actually there.
You want assurance.
Yeah, you want high beams that go on forever.
It's the desire for a guarantee. We want a contract with the universe that says, if I do X and Y, then Z will happen. If I work hard, I will get promoted. If I eat kale, I will be healthy.
Yes.
If I am kind, people will be kind to me.
But it doesn't work like that.
But the future doesn't sign contracts.
Yeah.
The universe doesn't negotiate.
No, it definitely does not. And that applies to small things, too. Like, will it rain during my outdoor party this weekend? You can check the app, you can pray to the weather gods, you can do a rain dance, but you simply do not know until Saturday comes.
And notice how much energy we spend trying to predict it. We check 3 different weather apps. We ask friends what they think. We look at the sky. We are trying to gather data to eliminate the uncertainty.
We want to feel in control.
We think if we have enough information, the unease will go away. We think if we stare at the radar long enough, we can control the clouds. But the unease remains until the moment arrives.
So we've established that this feeling is universal, it affects our body and mind, and it shows up in waiting, deciding, and looking ahead. But now I want to get to the why. Why are we built this way? Why does the brain hate not knowing? Is it a flaw? Is it a bug in the system?
This is where we have to have a little sympathy for our brains. The source explains this very simply. The brain is a prediction machine. That is its primary job.
Its job is to predict things.
It isn't designed to just see the world. It is designed to predict what happens next so it can keep you alive.
It wants to know the ending of the story before the story starts.
It needs to know the ending. Evolutionarily speaking, not knowing was dangerous. If you were walking in the tall grass on the savannah and you heard a rustle and you didn't know what it was, that was a life-threatening situation.
Right. If you assume it's the wind and it's a tiger, you're dead.
Exactly. So the brain evolved to treat ambiguity as a threat. It is better to have a false alarm, to assume it's a tiger and run away, only to realize it was a bunny, than to be relaxed and get eaten.
So we're hardwired for this.
We are the descendants of the anxious people who ran away from the rustling grass. We are the children of the warriors.
So we are wired to treat uncertainty as a physical threat. That explains the tight shoulders. My body is preparing to run from a tiger, but the tiger is just an email from my boss that says we need to talk.
Correct. The brain craves patterns. It likes A plus B equals C. When A plus B equals maybe C, maybe D, maybe nothing, the pattern breaks. This causes what neuroscientists call a prediction error. The brain hates prediction errors.
And that error causes friction.
Yes, friction is the perfect word. It's cognitive friction. The brain is spinning its wheels, trying to gain traction on a surface that is slippery. That friction is the unsettling feeling. It's the sensation of your mind trying to grab onto something solid and sliding off.
I like framing it that way because it stops it from feeling like a personal failure. It's not that I'm weak. It's not that I'm bad at meditating. It's not that I lack faith.
No.
It's that my brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, predict patterns, but the situation doesn't have a pattern yet.
Exactly. It is an instinctive reaction. It is a biological mismatch between an old brain system and a modern, complex world. We don't have tigers in the bushes, but we have vague social media posts. We have fluctuating housing markets. We have complex relationships where people don't say what they mean.
These are all rustling bushes.
They're all rustling bushes to the brain.
And the brain screams, find the pattern, find the danger, and we just sit there feeling uneasy because we can't solve it. The email doesn't have a hidden code, it's just an email.
And this brings us to the most difficult, but perhaps the most beautiful part of today's deep dive.
Yeah.
The section on gentle reflection.
Right. The source material was very clear here. Gentle reflection, not solutions.
We have to resist the urge to fix this.
That is so hard. I am a fixer. If I feel bad, I want to do something to feel good. I want a checklist. I want a hack. I want you to tell me, do these 3 breathing exercises and you will never feel unease again.
Right.
I want to optimize the unease away.
And that is a very natural response. But in the context of quiet unease, trying to fix it often makes it louder.
Why?
Because fixing implies that the feeling is a problem. It implies that not knowing is a broken state that needs to be repaired. But as we just discussed, not knowing is simply reality. You can't fix reality.
So if we aren't fixing it, what are we doing?
We are sitting with it.
Just sitting.
Just sitting, acknowledging. There is immense power in saying out loud or just to yourself, I don't know what is going to happen, and that feels uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
And just letting that sentence hang in the air.
And stopping there, not adding, and therefore I must panic, or, and so I need to make a plan, or, and so I am a failure. I don't know.
It's the difference between reassuring and reflecting. Reassurance tries to cover up the uncertainty. It says, don't worry, it will all work out, you'll get the job, the weather will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know that. And deep down, your brain knows you're lying. That can feel hollow. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Yeah, that's toxic positivity, right? Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes you just want to say, well, I don't know the reason and I feel weird about it.
Exactly. Reflection says, it is okay to feel this way now. It validates the reality of the moment. It allows the unease to exist without fighting it. And ironically, when you stop fighting the feeling, the friction often decreases. Like the volume knob gets turned down a little bit.
It's like quicksand, that old movie trope. If you struggle in quicksand, you sink. If you lie still, you float.
That is a perfect analogy. The quiet unease is the quicksand. The more you thrash around with what-ifs and shoulds and checking your phone every 10 seconds, the deeper you sink into anxiety. But if you just lie back and say, okay, I am floating in uncertainty right now, you stay on the surface. You can breathe. You are still in the quicksand, but you aren't drowning.
There's also this idea of finding comfort in the unknown, which, that sounds like a paradox. How can the thing that scares us be comforting?
Well, think about the alternative. If everything was known, if you knew exactly how every day would go for the rest of your life.
Oh, wow.
If you knew the score of every game before you watched it, the ending of every movie, the exact conversation you'd have with your partner in 10 years, the exact day you would die, would that be comforting? Or would it be incredibly boring? Or even terrifying?
It would be a script. I'd be a robot. There would be no point in waking up. There would be no spark, no surprise.
Exactly. Uncertainty is the price of admission for a life that has possibility. The fact that you don't know what will happen tomorrow means that anything could happen. Good things, surprising things, wonderful things. The lottery ticket hasn't been scratched yet.
So the unease is actually a sign of being alive. It's a sign that the story is still being written.
Yes. Reframe the unease not as fear, but as engagement. You are engaged with a world that is moving and changing. You are right at the edge of the present moment, looking into the future. That is a vibrant place to be, even if it feels a little shaky. It is the leading edge of your life.
It reminds me of that feeling before a trip. You have the travel anxiety. Did I pack everything? Will the flight be on time? Is my passport valid? But underneath that, there is the excitement of going somewhere new. I think quiet unease is just the travel anxiety of being alive.
I love that, the travel anxiety of being alive. It acknowledges the nerves, but it also acknowledges the journey. It suggests that we are going somewhere, that we are in motion.
So as we start to wind this down, let's take a breath. We've talked about a lot, but the goal was to keep this calm.
Yes. Let's slow it down again. Let the dust settle in the room.
We started by entering this curious room. We acknowledged that Everyone, every single person listening, feels this background hum of unease. We talked about how it loops in our thoughts like a broken record.
And tightens our bodies like we are holding our breath, waiting for a jump scare.
Right. We look at the waiting, the burden of decisions, and the fog of the future, and we learn that our brains are just trying to protect us. They're looking for patterns that aren't there because they think there might be a tiger in the grass.
And most importantly, we decided not to fix it. We decided to just let it be there.
To float in it.
To accept that not knowing is a fundamental part of the human experience. It is not a glitch. It is a feature. It is what makes life surprising.
I hope for the listener, this conversation has given you a little bit of space. Maybe the next time that tightness in your chest starts or the thoughts start looping, you can pause.
You can pause and say, there it is. The quiet unease. My brain is looking for a pattern. And just noticing it might be enough. You don't have to push it away. You don't have to invite it to dinner, but you can let it sit in the corner.
It doesn't mean the feeling goes away instantly, but maybe. Maybe it becomes a little less scary, a little more familiar.
It becomes just another guest in the room. Not an intruder, just a guest who is passing through.
I want to leave you with one thought to mull over. We talked about how the brain hates the unknown because it wants safety. But think about the best moments of your life. The surprises, the sudden laughter, the opportunities you didn't see coming. The person you met by accident who changed everything. None of those would be possible without the unknown.
That brings up a fascinating question for the listener to carry with them. If we could trade our uncertainty for absolute certainty, would we actually want to? Or is the quiet unease actually the quiet hum of potential?
Is the unease just the space where new things are waiting to happen? That's a lovely thought.
It is.
Thank you for joining us in the Curious Room today. It was nice to just sit and think with you.
It was a pleasure.
Take care of yourself and stay curious.